Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sports Shorts Daily. Ronnie Rance alongside TK, Tommy Chrysan. TK joining us over in God's Country, downtown Port Allen at Court Street Cafe, and where they're open, of course, for breakfast and lunch and dinner. We'll also coming to you from an
All right, Ronnie has bounced away for a second from that undisclosed location brought to you by the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame.
college. Anything else that's going on under the sun over at LeBear's and the sports book, which, by the way, Tommy, I ran into some folks at DC Mardi Gras, and ESPN Bets is coming soon. We're going to have that name change soon, so we don't have to stumble over it every time we do a remote over there. Anyway, let's talk about obviously the Super Bowl is coming up, and it's a surprise Super Bowl because I think about halfway through the season, I did not have the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. As crazy as that sounds, they're the defending Super Bowl champs. They've obviously been to this big game more than any others in the last decade. But at the same time, they did not look like a Super Bowl team. They looked like a team that lacked offensive weapons. But that's why Mahomes is now the new Tom Brady. I mean, he is the he's going to be especially if they win this year and go back to back for the first time in 20 years. It's going to be that kind of conversation. He'll be in that rarefied air with Tom Brady. But the Chiefs are the surprise team, in my opinion, into the Super Bowl, and the 49ers are not. They were a team that was kind of expected to be the best team in the NFC, and they've lived up to that.
Yeah, the Chiefs, 6 straight AFC title games. First one they had to do on the road, they got it done. I mean, you got to give credit for that. And you're right. I remember us talking about it on Sports News Daily. You made the point, like, this Chiefs team, maybe that window's closing, it's not working, but that's just proof to the fact that it's a long season. It's a marathon, not a sprint. All those cliches. And but come time to put up or shut up, the Chiefs have got it done with Mahomes and Kelsey and an offensive line that's just fantastic. And they had a different left guard have to start yesterday due to injuries. They still got it done. I mean, that's just and then the receiver has really come on. I mean, they're not missing Tyreek Hill right now, I can tell you. And it's a good story. It's an Andy Reid story. It's a team that has found a way to get it done. And then everybody said, "Well, they're going to go on the road. Let's see." Okay, that conversation's over. Mahomes is the new Tom Brady. He's the best quarterback in football. And, he's going back to a Super Bowl in Vegas. And then, of course, like you said, the 49ers, we all kind of thought all year long that they'd be in the hunt at the end of it. Ronnie, Brock Purdy is 21-5 as a starter. 21-5 as a starter. Yesterday's game featured the number one overall pick in the draft with Goff and the last pick in the draft with Purdy. Now, Mahomes was a 10th pick in the first round back in the day. So we got a first rounder against Mr. Irrelevant again. But Brock Purdy, say what you want. He's 21-5 as a starter, and his team's playing in the Super Bowl in 2 weeks.
I thought it was funny. There was a tweet put out by Alex Smith, the former 49ers quarterback, who, was a lot like Purdy in the sense that he didn't get credit for being a good quarterback. He was a manager of the game, considered a manager of the game. It was all about the defense. It's all about everybody else, but they won almost in spite of Alex Smith. That was the perception of him, although he proved throughout his career what a winner he was, no matter where he ended up. But Alex Smith put out a tweet saying Brock Purdy's his request to join the quarterback managers club has been denied. That they have rejected him because he's too good to be a quarterback manager. And look, the critics are plenty. I mean, even the touchdown he threw from 50 yards out or whatever should have been intercepted. It goes for, or didn't go for a TD, but went for a big play down inside the 5 and changed the game. But he has to, at some point, everyone has to give him his flowers, man, because, I mean, not everybody's Patrick Mahomes. He's a Hall of Famer. He's going to arguably at the end of his career be talked about as could he be the greatest of all time. But Brock Purdy just continues to prove that he is, I think at this point, Tommy, you can say Brock Purdy's a top 10 quarterback in the NFL without a doubt.
I agree. And then another thing to magnify your point about Mahomes is the new Tom Brady. And I'm going to jump on this theory I'm about to echo that you're saying. They always said, don't bet against Tom Brady. That was a mantra for a long time. Well, now it's don't bet against Patrick Mahomes. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes in the Super Bowl. I'm going to tell you right now. And I know that line has moved significantly already. It may continue to move. I think Chiefs will be favored for the kickoff. I'm not betting against Mahomes. It's going to be that theory. I heard you say this one time. You either bet with him or you don't bet the game.
Right.
One of the two. You don't bet against him because kind of like I run with Alabama in the first half years ago, to run with LSU basketball, you're going to win way more than you lose if you just bet Mahomes, okay? And then the NFL and basically every level of football, it's all about the quarterback. And I can tell you right now, I don't care what the line is when we get – I probably should, since I think it's going to move, I should bet the game today.
Yeah, the 49ers.
That way, if it does, I should go ahead and get the 1 point.
Right.
The game ain't going to end in a tie, but I can end it with a push. And I may just do that now so that if they are a 1.5 or a 2 point favorite by kickoff, I got a better value.
The 49ers opened up as a 2.5 point favorite last night. It quickly moved within a matter of a few hours to the 49ers being only a 1 point favorite over the Chiefs. And now you got 2 weeks to think about it, analyze it, talk about it. Deebo Samuel is going to have 2 weeks to get healthier. That helps the 49ers argument in case. But at the end of the day, though, it comes down to what you said in a dome environment where, so take the weather off the equation and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, there's just no way in hell I'm going to vote. I'm going to take, and I know it's a team game and all that, but there's just no way I'm going to take Brock Purdy over Patrick Mahomes. And, stranger things can happen. We know that. But there's just no way. I mean, how can you justify that? And he's proven, you're talking about environments. I mean, going on the road to Buffalo, going on the road to Baltimore. I mean, look, I flew out of Baltimore yesterday. It was about a 45-minute drive from DC where I was staying to the airport and in Buffalo, about 45, 50-minute drive with Uber. And, tons of fans, but the weather was, mild for this time of year. It was a little wet, a little chilly, but it had rained during the night. But for the most part, it was pretty mild weather, hostile environment. Lamar Jackson looking to, solidify his, his place in history and to kind of get over the hump of the critics, even though, I think for sure he's a slam dunk MVP this year of the league and deservedly so. But he just picks the worst game of one of the worst games. They tie for a season low in points, and Patrick Mahomes on the road again, road warrior. Now 2 in a row. Forget all that. He's the GOAT.
Yeah, well, right now he is, and I like your comment. Purdy's in the top 10. Maybe the top 6 or 7 in football now. Again, as I mentioned, he's 21-5 as a starter. Okay, there's not a lot of quarterbacks in the history of the NFL who can say in their first 26 games they won 21 of them. Peyton Manning can't say that. I mean, there's a long list, okay, of guys who ended up being great. Now, is Purdy going to end up being great? Well, time will tell. But, wow, it's quite a situation.
In college, I think I can buy into the money, the quarterback, the game manager title, because oftentimes, I mean, let's face it, like when an LSU or an Alabama plays its opponent, I would say 75% of the time, if not more, LSU just has more talent than the opponent. They've got 3, 4, 5 stars, and they're playing teams that don't have as many, or they've got teams that don't have any 4 or 5 stars. So there's a talent advantage tremendously in college at times. A lot of these games, I mean, a majority of these games. And so, yeah, I think the whole term manager of the game, just don't screw it up. That makes sense. In the NFL, that's not the case. In the NFL, anybody can beat anybody. First place, last place, it doesn't matter. Professional sports. I mean, look at the Detroit Pistons. I know it's a different sport, but they literally have won 5 games this year, and 2 of them have been against the top 2 teams in the West. It makes no sense, right? So, but that's professional sports. When you're talking about elite athletes, and everybody has them with salary caps and all that. You're not Alabama. You can't just get everybody. So, I think that the criticism or the whole team manager, game manager thing that we keep putting on Purdy as a society has to stop, because that's not the case in the NFL. You can't go 21-5 by just simply not screwing up.
I agree. I mean, and I read some stuff on Purdy late last night. High school he played at in Arizona, very successful when he was there, and they hadn't been successful before he took over. He goes to Iowa State, and they got a lot better when he was there. Again, team game, but it's kind of like he just finds a way to win. He's 21-5. He's a winner. Okay, regardless of what you want to say or not say, the guy finds a way to win. And in the NFL, the ultimate goal is win the game, win the Super Bowl. That's it. There's a lot of other goals, but those two are at the top of the list.
A little NFL news outside of the two games over the weekend. We know that Harbaugh met Herbert, and look, the Chargers are not relevant in LA. I mean, it's a Rams town, it's a Laker town, it's a Dodger town, it's anything but the Chargers in that town. Harbaugh is going to change that from a standpoint of now there's attention, now there's interest, now there's national tension, not just local. And I think, much like we saw a giant step this past year by Baker Mayfield, or you saw Geno Smith make that big step last year, just kind of come out of nowhere. Not that Herbert's coming out of nowhere, but I expect a giant improvement. I mean, look at Harbaugh took Alex Smith to the Super Bowl, and so I mean, what can he do with a guy like Herbert, who's the real deal? So
the other thing that doesn't get talked about, Harbaugh played quarterback in the NFL for 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of meeting rooms. That's a lot of film.
Yep.
That's a lot of different coaches that he encountered. Good and bad. I mean, so he
had success late. He had success late in his career too. A lot of his better years were later on.
Yeah, I mean, he's got the resume, as they say, or he's got the credentials based on his experiences. But we're all products of our experiences. He's got a lot of them, and when he first started coaching, San Diego State, wherever it was, they did well. He took the 49ers to the Super Bowl in New Orleans, by the way. And I mean, so kind of like we say, Purdy's a winner, well, whether you like Harbaugh or not, and I don't, he is a winner.
23rd straight year, the LSU Tigers are going to have players in the Super Bowl, and that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, there's only one other school. I think Georgia's the other school that can say that. And the Super Bowl's full of SEC players, just like the thing was yesterday. But LSU, man, that's quite a streak. It's something very proud of. They got two players on the Chiefs roster, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Neil Farrell, who was a defensive lineman a couple of years at LSU, and former Tiger running back Ty Davis-Price is a part of the 49ers team. So with that being said, at least one LSU Tiger is going to get a Super Bowl ring.
That's right. And Ty Davis-Price from Baton Rouge, and Clyde Edwards from Baton Rouge, not just LSU, went to high school here. All right.
I got to tell Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah.
Back in the day, we're doing Tiger's Board. He signed with LSU, and Jordy Holberg and I were doing the show. We had Clyde Edwards-Helaire on the show via the phone. He had just signed with LSU. Jordy Holberg said, Clyde, you're only like 5'6", maybe. He says, you think you're going to be able to transfer your skills to the next level? His answer was, well, Jordy, the holes are not up and down. They're left and right. So it doesn't matter how tall you are. The holes are this way, not this way. And, good answer. I thought it was a very good answer for a senior in high school who's 5'6", and guess what? He's in another Super Bowl this week. And he made that comment before he ever took a snap at LSU.
I remember watching Clyde in high school at Catholic High in the state championship game. And I feel like I remember a run down the sideline, and he did like a 360 move, breaking a tackle and all that. It's similar to what he still does. He did it at the college level, especially in 2019. And of course he does it in the pros, this little bitty guy that, somehow he breaks out of the tackle, and he's always moving forward. He's always spinning. He's just difficult to bring down. Different style than Warwick Dunn, another Catholic High product, but both small in stature, but both could break some tackles. And Warwick was a little faster and shiftier, but Clyde, for a small guy, has tremendous power, and happy for him. A great guy. And they talked about him the other day, how he's taking nursing classes and wants to be a nurse when he retires from football. He knows that there's life after football, and he's actually studying that while he's playing, which is something you don't hear about these days. It's a pretty cool story. All right, so Super Bowl is set. 49ers and Chiefs. I mean, 49ers and Chiefs. 49ers at the moment a favorite. We both like the Chiefs in this one from a standpoint of just can't see ourselves betting against Patrick Mahomes. It'll be a 5:30 start. 2 weeks from yesterday in Vegas. I will be probably, Tommy, on a flight from Phoenix. I'm going to the Phoenix Open, going to the Waste Management that weekend with my brother and some friends, and we will be on a plane that Sunday back from Phoenix to Lafayette, is where the plane's going to be in and out of. I don't know if I don't know exactly how the timeline is of how it's going to fall, but there's a good chance I'm gonna miss about half the game, but that'll be all right. We'll catch up. It's worth it.
Yeah, you'll be able to catch up. Yeah, no, it'd be great to be at that Phoenix. I think you're going to go get on the 16th hole, and
Yeah.
It's going to be that's a stadium in itself. You're going to think you're at Tiger Stadium when you're on the 16th hole. That'll be a great trip. Another thing you can check off the bucket list.
All right, so we'll hit on some other quick topics. I know on Friday I was up at the Washington, D.C. Mardi Gras. I didn't get a chance to go see this. I know you did. LSU baseball had a press conference 3 weeks from Friday as the start of the season. Can't believe it's already here. That's amazing. But big takeaways from the press conference, and I know that a lot of players spoke. They had coaches. What was kind of the takeaway of the theme, I guess?
I think it's a confident team. I think it's a team that wants to win the College World Series again. They know there's a lot of work to be done. They've got a lot of players. They in a squad all weekend long if the weather permitted it, because that's the best thing you can do at that level is just play inter squad. That's how you learn the game. And they're going to open up in less than 3 weeks, and then there'll be that one road trip to the tournament over, I want to say in Houston, that they played in the last couple of years. Then the SEC schedule will be no picnic, and we'll see how the Tigers do. I mean, they're expected to have a deep pitching staff, top to bottom. There's no Paul Skeens as of today, but they're expected to have a deep pitching staff. There's no Dylan Cruz, but you got a lot of guys that can play and are progressive. Josh Pearson's been moved to second base. They wanted that in the lineup. No room for him in the outfield, so he's going to do the second base thing, and that's fine. And it's saying that Jared Jones is going to be the first baseman, so he's hitting the ball out of sight. Okay. Hit it out of sight at practice. That's good. But, I'm curious. I just can't wait to see this LSU team. It's going to create its own identity. Tommy White will be a key part of that. It's supposedly his shoulder's all good. It's supposed to be all good. He separated, first game of the season last year. And then he said, Ronnie, it popped out at least 20 times during the season. Okay, could have been, he could be talking about practice, game, after a game, plane flight, whatever. But look, Jay Johnson and his staff, they'll have these guys ready to go. They're not going to go 56-0. We know that. But they're going to win a lot of baseball games. They're going to be in the hunt in the SEC and for a championship, another championship in Omaha.
On the mound, 1 through 12, a lot of confidence in this LSU baseball team, a lot of confidence at first, third, catcher, DH, as far as offensive production. Question marks at second and short. You don't have a true second baseman. You converted an outfielder to second. Braswell, the transfer from USC, had a good South Carolina, that is, had a good fall, but he didn't have a good year last year. He had like 210 or something. So, you got let me see. You got Paxton Kling. Is he going to make the move and be the superstar we think he's going to be in that Mikey Matuk kind of, mode? But he's got to do it, right? He's got to be the guy. We think he's going to be the guy. It's like we're getting a 5-star recruit in football. We think he's going to be the guy. We got to go do it. So obviously what you're getting from the transfer from Arizona in the outfield. Hit 360 last year, whatever, in the Pac-12. But so my point is that there's 5 of the 9 spots in the lineup that I think I know what I'm getting. I mean, put it down. I could probably guess pretty close to what I think I'm going to get. But the other 4 spots, there are true question marks. Brady Neal, the catcher's also playing some at second base. They're putting him over there as well, because they don't have enough left-handed bats. They're trying to get as many left-handed bats in the lineup, and Pearson and Neal are both left-handed. So there is some question marks around this team defensively, offensively. That I don't think I have on the mound. I think 1 through 12, 14. I think they're going to be as good as anybody in the country or better. offensively, we know they got confidence in 5 guys, but 4 guys are going to have to prove it that they can actually do it. So there's something to watch for sure.
And this is a message for all you travel ball coaches and your parents of kids aged 10 to 14. Play as many positions as you can.
Right.
Okay. Because when you get older, you're going to get moved around. I remember years ago, Ryan, I read a story, Major League Baseball, like the number of very good players, great players over a long period of time that were signed at a position they never played a day. Dale Murphy came up as a catcher, didn't work. Hall of Famer in the outfield. And that happened. A lot of George Foster was signed as a shortstop, hit 52 home runs 1 year as a left fielder. So young kids, look what LSU baseball is doing. They're moving some guys around. So that 12-year-old travel team kid should almost play a different position every weekend, especially the kids that can't. Now, if you're left-handed, you're not going to go play shortstop, but you know what I'm saying. So that's a good message for people.
Some other topics to hit on real quick. LSU women's basketball, obviously the heartbreak loss on Thursday to South Carolina. They're back at it on the road against Mississippi State. You said Mississippi State's going to be a nice little challenge.
They're 16-5, good team, doing well, and they'll be at home. So Kim Mulkey's team who's 18-3, will have to, see if they can bounce back from the loss the other night and got away at the end of the game. And maybe they can use this game to improve the depth on the bench, maybe sprinkle some more minutes at some people. But that's a 6 o'clock game tonight in Starkville. Ronnie, you went out on us. Can't hear Ronnie. Whoop, there we go. See if he can come back. All right, I'll see if Ronnie can jump back in there with us. Well, the internet's a beautiful thing, and then it can frustrate you some days. So let's see if we can get Ronnie back on board. In the meantime, I will remind you about Court Street Cafe. Great crowd yesterday for the Sunday brunch with live music. They do breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Jason and the staff do a great job. 805 Court Street in Port Allen, just a couple of minutes over the Mississippi River Bridge. Full-service bar here at Court Street Cafe. Connect on Facebook and Instagram. You'll be able to keep up with all the things that they do. You there, Ronnie? All right, still don't. I'm not hearing you. All right, anyway, so we'll bail out of there. Ronnie will get that fixed for next time. Don't forget the La Barras Casino and Hotel in Baton Rouge. Don't forget to like and share our show. That helps us. It helps our partners. It helps our sponsors. And let's see, Ronnie there?
You got me?
Yeah, I do. Hey, boom. I was just, I just made the comment. The internet can be a beautiful thing, and some days it can frustrate you.
I could hear you, Tommy, but for whatever reason, it is what it is. To touch on a couple quick things before we get out of here. No offensive coordinator yet for the Saints. I'm curious if that's tied to these teams that are playing, if there's guys they want to interview, if there's guys they think they've identified, because this is, you've known for a few weeks now, usually things move quicker in the NFL.
They do. And again, the thing would be, going into the weekend, if they were very interested in one of the coaches on one of the 4 teams that was still playing. Well, now there's 2 teams not playing. Word is Ben Johnson, the offensive coordinator of the Lions, could end up the Washington Commanders head coach. Seattle job still open. But for purposes around here, the Saints fans might be starting to get a little antsy, let's get a coordinator. I did a little poll question on X this morning. I said they ought to hire Ronald Curry. The guy's been around and, give him a shot, see what he can do. He's in-house. He knows the people know him. Of course, not for me to make that decision, but that's what it's kind of looking like. It might be the thing. And the whole Dennis Allen thing has been like an in-house thing until they got rid of Carmichael this year. But we'll see. Hopefully something will happen here. Maybe this week. We'll see.
A lot of the LSU officials, Greg Bensel, Dennis Lauscha, Gail Benson, they were all up in D.C. over the weekend. Obviously, Drew Brees, the king of the D.C. Mardi Gras, and celebrating him. Miss Benson picked up Humanitarian of the Century Award for all her charitable dealings and givings and all that. There was the 75th anniversary of the Washington, D.C. Mardi Gras, and the organization presented her with the award. Drew obviously did the presentation. and it was a very nice event. Drew did the "Who Dat" chant with the crowd, which was kind of cool. There's about 2,500, 3,000 people in their ballroom on Saturday night, and everybody was doing the "Who Dat" chant with him, which that never gets old when he does it. But yeah, the coordinator position, I'm curious what the whole Gruden thing is about. Is he an advisor? Is he giving them advice? Was he ever a real candidate for the OC job? Did they what? Because we know they met with him when they played in Tampa. We know he was in New Orleans a couple of weeks ago, but yet no movement there. And yet the Saints have gotten criticism for it, right? Because if you're in favor, if you're okay with forgiving and forgetting on Gruden, then you want him. But if you're not, every time his name comes up, people bash him on social media. So I'm just curious what that whole thing is about.
Ronnie, I'm not so sure the NFL didn't tell the Saints they can't hire him. Yeah, I'm guessing. I have no inside info. I didn't get on the phone with anybody. But just the way it looks, he met, like you said, he met with him. He's been at practice to observe. And I'm sure he was in some meetings when he was at the Saints facility. And, there's litigation between he and the NFL now. And every coach has to get their contract approved by the NFL office. I mean, if you're hiring Ronnie Rance as the quality control guy for the water bucket, the NFL still got to approve it. 99% of the time it gets rubber stamped. But I'm not so sure that might not be the case here. Because if you were going to hire Gruden, it'd already be done. There'd be no other reason not to hire him if you wanted to hire him. Maybe they don't want to hire him. I don't know. That just 2 and 2 is not 4. And I think the NFL's got to roll with that. My opinion.
I think before we cut out, I was saying something about the Pelicans real quick. So I mean, they were playing so well. It looked like it was all coming together. And then the last couple of games have just gotten destroyed. So I don't know what that's all about. I know Zion didn't play. I know he didn't play Friday. I don't know if he didn't play Saturday as well. I didn't look at the box score again. DC Mardi Gras was kind of in the little bubble over there with that, and they sat him out Friday with an ankle. So clearly, him not being in there had a big effect. But it's just weird how they. I mean, the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are the best team in the West and have. And have been fantastic. You look at the Clippers; they are 21-4 or 22-4, something crazy like that since December 1st. But yet, the Thunder lose to Detroit last night, a team that literally is horrifically horrible. I mean, they had 26-7 losses in a row, and yet they go beat the best team in basketball, who destroyed the Pelicans on Friday. I can't connect the dots. That's why they played the game.
It's tough to bet on the NBA because you don't know who's going to play next.
Right, that's the thing.
I bet the Thunder on the money line Friday during the day. It was like plus 110. It wasn't a big one. And then an hour later, it came out that Zion was not playing. And then all of a sudden, the Thunder were like a 2.5 point favorite because Zion wasn't playing, and they blasted them. So I got lucky with that, and of course, I wanted to bet. Now, Pelicans play at the Celtics tonight. Celtics are the best team in the East. Very tough in the Garden at home. Celtics are an 8.5 point favorite. I might have to go lay that 8.5 just because it looks like it should be a good bet.
Yeah, and especially the way the Pels played the last 2 games. I mean, if you got no Zion again, that would make sense that they would get destroyed. All right, TK, we'll be back on Wednesday morning for more Sports Shorts daily. Until then, tell us about Court Street on the way out.
Yeah, we gave you a good message about them, but hit them up for lunch, breakfast, dinner, full-service bar, 805 Court Street in Port Allen. Jason and the staff do a super job. Best way to keep up with them, Facebook, Instagram. They'll post lunch specials, dinner specials, live music like they had yesterday here out on the patio in front. Court Street Cafe in Port Allen. Home Sports Shorts Daily on Mondays. Again, like and share this show. That helps everybody involved. We appreciate that. Thank you for watching the show. Tell all your friends about it. And as Ronnie said, we will be back Wednesday morning at approximately 9:30 for another episode of Sports Shorts Daily. Have a good day, everyone.